Welcome back to the college football pregame show here on CBS Sports HQ. One of the 4 ranked-on-ranked games is in South Bend. Number 16 Notre Dame welcomes 15 Louisville. Here are the injuries of note. Sophomore tight end Cooper Flanagan out for the game today due to a left ankle injury, while defensive end Joshua Burnham remains questionable after missing the last 2 games with an ankle injury. Irish are already without multiple season-long absentees, including right guard Billy Schroff and defensive tackle Gabriel Rubio. Louisville starting running back Maurice Turner missed last week with an ankle injury, and head coach Jeff Brom said he's not optimistic about a Week 5 return for him, and star cornerback Quincy Riley is also 50-50 at best with his high ankle injury, listed as a game-time decision. Welcome back to College Football Pregame Show. Jeremy St. Louis alongside Damien Harris, Danny Kanell, and Cardale Jones. Mackenzie Brooks is also here to help us with the data side of this game. We're going to dive into this, but first, I just want to say, Mackenzie, how did you not make an injury report?
Yeah, right?
This week?
I don't know. They don't get it. I'm just.
Mackenzie's wearing a walking boot. She's been wearing a walking boot.
I was beating up a Bama fan.
All week long. Well, no. We were saying you said earlier that you told the model to kick rocks, and apparently the model.
The model, yeah.
The model came back at you.
No, the model did come back at me. I definitely kicked rocks to the model with my Jordan line.
If you fought a Bama fan, you'd look a lot worse. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
it would have been a lot worse than that.
All right.
We can put our helmets on if you want, Damien.
Look for that on social media later. All right. Let's talk about the college football implications of this matchup, because obviously there are implications here. So, Mackenzie, walk us through what the models are saying.
So a lot of our job is to mimic what the odds makers are doing and try to figure out where their head is and reverse engineer. And they seem to think that Notre Dame, based off the odds around plus 190 to make the playoffs, that they could afford to lose 2 games. So we have them around 28% chance right now. If they win this game, goes up to 35%. Not too drastic because, again, they're still fighting out of that hole that they put themselves in. But if they lose, I say only 7.6, but that's better than the 0% I would have thought would be. But because odds makers seem to think that they could lose 2 games, and I think it's because, you know, the weakness of the ACC right now, the weakness of the Big 12, maybe there is room for them in a 2-loss scenario. So that's why you see this 7.6 instead of essentially a 0. And then for Louisville, again, 21% right now, goes to around 30% with this win, but a drop to 16 if they lose. So a good bit on the line for them as well. But just interesting to see that Notre Dame, after, you know, the week that they lost, we were like, they have no shot here. They're still alive, and that's the beauty of college football, I guess.
Are they still alive?
There is 0. If they lose again, there is 0 chance, and all of us will pound the table and make sure that does not happen.
I would rather
You cannot lose to Northern Illinois and be in the playoffs.
Listen, I'd rather see 2 one-loss group of 5 teams get in versus a 2-loss Notre Dame team.
Especially with the loss to Northern Illinois already there, who, by the way, Northern Illinois just lost to Buffalo.
So that don't help their case.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to gripe. This is the problem with the 12-team playoff system.
Are you a hater?
I'm a hater because we're having this conversation when we just got done talking about Bama, Georgia. It's 2 different tiers of football that are going to face to play for that. To me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I get it. You want to give more people a chance. You want to make this like March Madness. You want to give the underdogs a story. But this is college football. It's not the same. So Bama, Georgia, Texas, those teams, they should not be mentioned in the same breath as a Notre Dame team that can still get in the playoffs after losing to Northern Illinois.
Well,
so yes, I am a hater.
It's a different breath, though. We're mentioning about Alabama and Georgia and Texas about first-round buys versus a team trying to sneak into that 12th
But we have to be careful acting like Georgia and Bama are above everything. Georgia almost lost to Kentucky. They could lose to anybody. That's my thing with college football, which I think is exciting. I think anybody can get beat on any given day, which is why I do like the opportunity for teams to do it. Now, yes, it's not going to change who the eventual national champion is. Right. There's not all of a sudden going to be all this parity, and there's going to be a team like Northern Illinois comes out of nowhere to win
or Notre Dame for that matter.
Right. But I do think it brings more to the November slate of games, and I do think it allows for teams to improve as well. I just think the Northern Illinois loss is too damaging for them. But I think there's other teams clearly that can get better throughout a season that might have been knocked out in years past, and they might be a team that could beat a Georgia or Alabama.
Notre Dame loses this game. Are we talking about a coaching change for the Irish?
Yes, yes, and yes. I thought Marcus Freeman, I thought he was on the hot seat to start the season. Just because even when they won their first game or so, they didn't look that great. Riley Leonard didn't look great. The team didn't look great. And then the loss to Northern Illinois, I mean, I just think that with the trajectory that Notre Dame is on, again, I think they're going to miss out on the playoffs. I don't think that this is the year for them, especially when the 12-team playoff is made for a team like Notre Dame. So, again, if you don't get in, you have to go with somebody else, because I think that with this season coming to a conclusion of disappointment, not making the playoff, you have to look at your head coach, and then you've got to look at your quarterback. That's the way this game is designed. So, to me, if they lose this game, or if they don't even make the playoffs, I would say he's got to be up for a coaching change. There has to be that internal conversation.
One of the roughest lines that he said was after they lost in Illinois. He's like, well, we've been here before, because they had already lost to Marshall. Yeah. And that was a really rough look. Those losses are unacceptable. I'll see how it plays out. I think if they miss the playoffs, he absolutely enters next season on the hot seat. I'm more of a fan of giving coaches a little bit more of a leeway, like let them have some of these growing pains, but we are talking about year 3.
Oh, I was going to say, because he's had an improved season 2 of the last 3 years at Notre Dame.
Right.
So this is, to me, this is the year.
This is the jump.
Yeah, this is the jump. And when you get in the playoffs and where you, like we said, maybe you on this Saturday, you do beat a Georgia, you do beat an Alabama or a Texas, but to me, Notre Dame is not doing that. And with those 2 years improving, this will be a tremendous letdown, in my opinion.
Well, there's two. Well, his young coaching career slate as being a head guy here at Notre Dame has been nothing but improvement each year. Is it to the standards of a major college football program like Notre Dame as the fan base expect? No, not really. But this is year 3. Giving him opportunity in this new 12-team system. Really, now he's finally developing his guys he recruited. They're sophomores, they're potentially juniors in his scheme. I think you give him more leeway, like Danny was saying, like, let's see what it looked like the next year going into the hot seat if you miss the playoffs, and especially if you don't have a great bowl performance. Notre Dame has traditionally not been performing really well in the bowl season, so if you miss in the playoffs and then go play a bowl game, you play against a UCF and you lose or struggle, then yeah, those questions will happen in that offseason of 25. But I think you definitely give him another season to see what he can do.
You know who needs to be on the hot seat? And I don't know if it's Marcus Freeman, and I think this is a collective in all of college football. Who's making the personnel decisions? Because they brought in Sam Hartman. It did not work. Yeah. They brought in Riley Leonard. It hasn't worked so far. Yeah. That's like, and their general manager positions are starting to gain a lot of traction. Whoever's making that decision, I think, should be under the most heat.
All right, let's get to a pick here. Louisville-Notre Dame. It's sitting at 6.5. The line started at 4.5 for the Irish. It's now moved even further to them at 6.5. So, Mackenzie, give us the play here based on the models.
I know I gave Notre Dame an optimistic 7.6% to still make the playoffs if they lose this game, but they know they need to win this game, and I think they will play like that, like their lives are on the line here. So I like to isolate their team total and their offense to go over 25.5. This Louisville defense on the road was not impressive last year. 11 points of offense worse and 8 points of defense worse. So overall struggled on the road, and this is their first big FBS road game of the season. So I think it might take them some time to adjust. It is a lot of returning production of the defense that put up those poor road stats last year. So again, this team needs to play with some fire. They need to get out early, and I think regardless of the spread, which we do have some value on, I think taking Notre Dame and their points is the move.
I'm with Mackenzie. Notre Dame absolutely has to play like their hair is on fire. Marcus Freeman has to coach like his job is on the line. Riley Leonard has to play like his job is on the line. And hopefully they do that. I think there's enough urgency created from us, from their lack of production, from all the external factors. There is enough fire under this team to hopefully, I mean, obviously they bounce back against NIU. Let's keep the ball rolling. Let's just keep on the positive momentum, because again, they have small odds to get to the playoffs, but how do you do that? I say it all this time on this show, by going 1-0 every week. So they got to come out and play like that. They got to play like they're playing for something. Louisville is too untested for me. I feel like they haven't played a great schedule. They beat a Georgia Tech team who I think we're realizing isn't as good as we thought they were after they initially beat Florida State. So with all of that being said, with those factors on the table, I'm going to go with Notre Dame playing for something today.
I think Jeff Brom has a massive chip on his shoulder because they did play for the ACC championship last year. No one predicted them to even go back to the ACC championship game this year. It was all Miami, Clemson, or Florida State. Yep. No one gave him a chance. He has a really good quarterback in Tyler Shuck. I think the defense, what favors them is all they have to do is shut down Riley Leonard's legs. They do not throw the football football. We talked about Michigan earlier. Notre Dame has 0 passing attack with Riley Leonard yet. I think that one dimension favors Louisville. I think Tyler Shuck has a big game. Give me Louisville, the points and the win.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. I thought I was going to be one throwing curveballs. but with all that being said, I do got faith in this Notre Dame team. It's kind of crazy for me to even say that, being an Ohio State guy. But I got faith in these guys. I think it's a sense of urgency there where every week is a playoff game for you guys now. You can't, it's losing to go home. Right? It's losing freaking to go home and you can wrap up this season. So I got Notre Dame, and I think every win needs to be pretty much a dominant performance. I don't think they leave no doubt here today.
Previous 2 meetings in South Bend were decided by 1 score. You pointed that out earlier. Cardale. Although the model says it's 11. Thanks, fellas. Second consecutive meeting where both of these teams are ranked, by the way. So let's recap Danny and Kenzie's picks. Ken's likes Notre Dame over their team total of 26.5. Danny is taking Louisville at the plus money, taking them to cover that 6.5. More college football pregame coming up.